do not want to let Wizards have that one. Rumble being removed, and Diana. These are quick fire bans here, Trevor.
Yep, so Diana being removed, obviously they don't want Dragon playing that one. It does mean Zed is still available, so if, Wizards let the slide through, so do Alternate, you can expect it being picked up. Shen is still in the pool, as is Zach, as is Nasus. Those are the ones that sort of, were high priority in the previous game.
Well, you'll see, it's definitely slowed things down, because now they've realized, they're like,
ooh, what do we do? What do we do? What's the decision?
Who do we let through? Orianna being taken away. I'm not sure whether that's completely required. I thought they shut Orianna down pretty well for Lord there. Thresh is taken away. I believe Thresh has stayed at 100% banned as well here. And Zach has snuck through and looks like he's going to be the first pick.
You are correct. Thresh has been banned in the entirety of all of our games thus far today. As we mentioned, Zach was let through. So is Nasus. Now, Nasus was banned out in the previous game, but it was Alternate that banned him out against the Wizards. So we'll see whether or not they want to pick him up. Jarvan is still available as well as Zed. So those are the high priority picks. We've still got the likes of Lulu and Varus and Sona in there, who we've seen a couple times today. So the question is now from Alternate, do they want to lock in Shen, Varus, Shen, Nasus? I would expect a Shen in there just because of the power that he offers. Instead, they're going to go complete opposite and go Zed Sona.
Zed locked in again, so Kurt really wanting that one. Or will we see it in the hands of Araneo for Elnor this time around? Jerry wanted that Sona as well. We're probably going to see a Lulu Varus countering that, I believe.
So, my question is now, you have Lulu Varus available. You have Shen still, he's there. And if you're going to give him back to Tesla, you can then put Zach in the jungle, for example, or even give him to Dragon in the mid. We've seen Zach all over the place based on the different leagues. So, Alternate feeling that, Zed is definitely the pick they wanted. I'm going to be very honest and say Kerp didn't have any impact on that previous game at all. He did get some damage down towards the end, but it was mostly because of the shockwave from Lord.
But remember, Shen is available, so Tesla could just go pick that up again.
That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, and he'll just test the... You think Shen Varus? It's got to be. Oh no, we're going for Nasus instead, so they're going to leave
so no
Shen
crystal
available.
ball, right. I'm going to put the crystal ball down before I hurt somebody with it. But right now, I'm going to go with Varus. So Varus and Nasus. Nasus, like we mentioned, it was actually banned out in the earlier games. So you've got some interchangeability now between the likes of Zach and Nasus, and we'll see how that plays out.
We have the Blind Monk.
Okay, so that's going to be given to Aranea, and the last time he ran this on LAN, on a big LAN, he was losing to Fnatic at the Warsaw qualifiers. It was the jungler that he ran in that particular matchup, and I distinctly remember trying to get some very aggressive Wraith Camp to tower dives. You put a ward down, jump over to the ward, and then Dragon's Rage kick Pekka into the lane. It didn't always work out, but it was very exciting to watch.
We'll see whether it works out this time around. That is a ballsy play, though, coming out. Alistair potentially going to get picked up here. We'll see whether Mithy wants to take that, or whether we'll go back with Lulu.
And Elise was available as well, so you could even run Elise support if they wanted to. Mid laner, I feel, is still free for Wizards, and I think this is what the talking point is now. Who do we want to put in this middle lane? Who do we want to, give them to? With this being locked in, so that's going to be Zach mid.
Yeah, we'll see whether it gets locked in or not. They could change it. Lulu does look like it's going to get selected alongside Varus, so that would mean Renekton will be in the hands of Tesla, and that means Zach is in the hands of Dragon.
I immediately like the composition here from Wizards. They've got such a beefy, tanky front line. Nasus and Renekton, the brothers, going to be throwing on their ultimates, get all their HP, have the damage per second around them based on magic damage. Then you're going to have Zach bouncing around absolutely everybody, and, Matroka's Varus just untouched in the back line. With Ari being locked in, that will help in terms of avoiding some of the damage, but unless Ferenalor gets off to a flyer of a start, he's not going to be able to burst down and kill Zach, Nasus, and Renekton, especially with Zach's passive.
Well, we'll see how it works out for them. Wizards, of course, with that 1-0 lead over Alternate. What are we seeing for these two team compositions overall? I'm seeing so much tankiness, so much damage and control from the Wizards. I fear for Alternate right now.
So there's one thing that will play into Alternate's favor in these team fights. If Creatine does go for that same Elder Lizard into Gauntlet build, he's going to be able to kite Nasus, Renekton, and Zach perfectly. It's the way the build was designed to get around this tanky bruiser survivability. Keep, landing those dots and staying mobile. What it does also mean is you've got all the movement from Zed, from Lee, from Ari, and if Alternate get caught in the same place, they will die. If they avoid the chain of corruption and, the stuns from their opponents, the slows, they will be able to, kite. And that's going to be the difference in these team fights.
Well, there is the Wizards. They are ready and waiting to go. Game is about to launch, as you can see. No last-minute super secret changes. And no teleports either taken by either team. We did see Sharu with a number of teleports last time around. There's Aranea on your screen along with the rest of Alternate. They are ready and waiting to go. As are you guys at home, I'm sure, tuning in. by the many thousands. It's good to have you here once again. Of course, we went through the drama of the playoffs last weekend. If you missed that, you can, of course, catch it over at lolesports.com. See who picked up the wins in both Europe and North America. Both were absolute excellent finals, so I highly recommend watching both of them if you missed any of those matches. But right now, it's the summer promotion. Who will get in towards the LCS for the summer series, which obviously, of course, the big important one that many of the teams are aware of. That is how you get to that World Finals later on in the year. As it is, it's alternate. They are 1-0 down against the Wizards. The winner of this game will be facing off against the Giants. The question is, who will it be? Will the Giants take it 2-0? Will they lock out the series? Or will alternate put a crimp in the works and manage to pick up a game to take it 1-1? They are the red side, as you can see, and the Wizards as the blue side. Some would say the advantage is with the blue, but honestly, stats proves otherwise. It's very much even across the board. I think it's like 51% and 49% over all games played. It's very close.
It is very close, and it's something that we actually seen, mirrored during the playoffs last weekend. We've seen how many blue side victories there were leading up to the grand final, where it was all about the red team, and it was just red team victories over and over. Right now, though, Alternate will be looking to try and buck the trend of blue side victories for this morning, with the exception of the previous game. And right now, it's a defensive start from all teams, getting some early wards down, and we may see some lane swaps coming in right now.
So we're just wanting to get things underway. Doesn't look like there's going to be any level 1 play. You can see at the top, it is going to be Kerp versus Tesla once again. We'll see how that battle works out from this time around with Renekton down the bottom lane. Of course, it also Varus sitting in that tri-bush. They are ready and waiting a blue buff, and looking like Carbono this time around on Nasus. So successful on Jarvan in the first game. We'll see how it works out for him. He has taken the dog and he's walking like an Egyptian.
This particular matchup is going to be very interesting, especially that top lane of Renekton versus Zed, because once they both hit 6, Kerp is going to be able to all in with that death mark, and Renekton's just going to throw in his ultimate dominance, get that HP, and effectively survive the burst. So I'd like to see exactly how they play this laning phase out, because of course Renekton has that sustain, which Kerp does not, and that's obviously going to play into his favor. Just to remind all the viewers, this is 3.5 balance. This is just before the 3.6, meaning you can stack those HP pots all the way up to 9 if you would like to.
Yeah, and of course Lysandra is not available.
Yes, correct.
Because she came just the other night and won't be available in the LCS until the next season. So as it stands right now, alternate are going to be taking blue. It will be Aranea on Lee Sin. Lee Sin, the champion we've not seen in the jungle for many weeks right now. I do believe I remember seeing... Who played it? One person played it in Europe LCS. I can't think who it was. So
Lee Sin has been played over in the Korean OGN League a number of times as well, and is actually a very popular pick with some of the teams running through there. So it's interesting to see it falling out of favor here, but still working well on that side of the pond. In this mid lane, though, Zac versus Ari, this is another matchup that we have not seen yet at all. And it's going to be an interesting one to keep tabs of, especially as they start getting up to the higher levels.
I think it's a case of if Diamond Proc stops playing Lee Sin, everybody goes, whoa, wait a minute, there's a problem here. The only person I think that really does keep running is Insec in Korea. That's what you're talking about, OGN.
Yeah, correct.
And so actually, Diamond says he's better at him than that. We'll see how it works out, though, when they do finally meet each other over in the All-Stars. As it stands, it is going to be a hail of arrows landing on alternate, and again, all lanes being bullied and pushed by Wizards.
And look at the numbers in that bottom lane, 15-6 as far as CS was concerned, and you see how low Creatine and J-Ree were. Up in this top lane, there's a very, very big wave in front of Kerp, so that'll explain the number deficit right now, and we'll see how well he can CS, but Aranea is moving up. This is going to be a double ninja setup to try and kill the Crocodile. Mama wants a pair of boots, and will they get it?
No, he's not, because he missed it, and he doesn't land it, and that means Tesla's just going to walk away without burning anything at all. He smelt that one coming a mile off.
Just use that slice and dice from Renekton to get a little bit of extra distance, and like you said, if you don't land that Sonic Wave, you're not going to be able to chase him down and apply any more of the CC. About the mid lane, Dragon on Zac versus Friendly Lord's Ari. If Ari does get the ability to kill, Dragon Zac, and he's in the right position, his passive is going to pop. He's just going to reform as that gelatinous ooze comes closer together. And obviously, Frenelord's going to have to try and reburst him down all over again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one works out. We did see Alexic didn't really run it in the mid, though. He went up the top lane. So this is effectively the first mid laner we've seen in the European LCS. But not technically the LCS yet, because these guys are fighting to qualify.
The Summer Promotion Tournament is the official title, and we'll see which team manages to make it through to face off against the Giants in that best of 5 tomorrow. Right now, That early advantage that was in the favor of Wizards has been evened out. There's been no first bloods either from either team. So, you know, that early push, it has been balanced out. And RNA, again, looking to set something up, but his lane is pretty heavily pushed. So he's going to have to go very, very deep if he wants to make something happen.
We'll see how deep he does go. He's going to see Jay Reese trying his best to poke out Mithy from this one. Mithy, of course, in that last exchange, worked out very well for him. And this time we do see the ping ward put down, which immediately stops RNA in his tracks. So I wonder if he sniffed that one out. In which case, it seems to be the countering of Wizards so far. Knowing when those ganks are coming seems to be perfect.
So Jerry was sitting in the bush. You would have seen the ward going down, and with that very big wave pushing against the Wizards, you know, tower line, it's not a dive that you can do at level 3 or level 4, which is what this entire bottom lane was. So RNA does decide to back away. He's fallen a little bit behind the pace as far as CS is concerned, but at least he is looking for opportunities. He just hasn't, you know, found them out yet. Take a look at Carbana's position with Nasus. He was moving towards the river, thinking about coming down towards the bottom, and he's now looking to set up his first gank, but he doesn't have blue, nor does he have red.
He's coming a long way around the back here. And Fronlord hasn't got... yes, he has. No, he hasn't hit 6. He's not far from it, but instead down the bottom, they're going to dive in towards Mithy. Mithy might get caught out here. Will be first, but goes down there. Now in towards the mid lane. They're going to go in towards Dragon. Dragon, of course, will have that passive. Let's see if Carbona can defend him. RNA is going to get taken. He manages to squish 1, squishes 2. Fronlord manages to take another. They do get the kill. RNA nearly paying for his life. But it is more importantly 2-0 for Alternate.
Very well played, but they're fighting up in the top lane.
They're going in, and Kerp is actually going back and forward with this one. It's a good exchange from Tesla. Does manage to rip a big chunk of health off Kerp, and he has a giant creep wave with him.
So in the bottom lane, first blood was picked up by Creatine with the help of Jay Ree. They managed to get the power core down, get a lot of good poke into Mithy, and then follow it up with the ignite and immediately chase him down. In the mid lane, that gang from Carbano, it actually countered. It ended up working against him because RNL was nearby, was able to jump in there. That gives Ultimate a very good advantage right now, 2-0 up, and showing that, you know, they can actually trade with Wizards. They bounce back from that first game defeats.
So, let's have a look across the lanes. You can see a big gap building already from Tesla in this top lane. Just like before, dominating it out here this time around with Renekton, of course. In that mid lane, pretty even between the two, of course, that assist going down for Unlord. We do see Dragon launching away, and Carbona was passing by. He's like, really, guy? I'm right here, and you're taking the rates right from me. Of course, communication will have gone between the two, and they will have accepted that. Down the bottom lane, actually a much even fight this time around between Matraco and Kraton. Of course, Kraton did pick up that kill early on against Mithy.
Yeah, let's actually be honest about that. It's a role reversal. This time around, Kraton and Jay Ree, they won that engagement. We've seen in the previous game just how they were being shut down. Now, in the middle lane, Dragon's in trouble. He's been charmed.
He lands the charm. Remember, he doesn't have that passive available, and he's going to use his ultimate. Let's bounce to get away from that one. But Dragon having to burn a number of abilities to get out of that.
So he manages to bounce himself out of a bad situation, and something we didn't point out either is his summoner spells. He went with Barrier and Ignite, so he doesn't have any sort of movement, you know, like a flash, for example. Going to be relying on that elastic slingshot. Now, very well played. Blue buff is being picked up by Forenalord right now, up in the top lane. Busy fighting. That's Ultimate's burn from both of them, actually.
Yeah, both of them obviously had an engagement we didn't quite catch a view of, but Tesla, you can see his hit points did go down. Kerp seemed to work that one very well towards him, but is he going to stick around? Nope, not going to hang around in that bush. Doesn't want to go for another tango with him. He has got full rage, though, so maybe if Kerp goes a little bit closer, he's going to be in trouble.
So we'll see how well he does manage to, you know, jump in there. He's maxing out that Cull the Meek, going to be able to heal himself up. So, you know, both red pots burned and Ultimate's no kill going down. It definitely was the dominance from Renekton that saves him from the death mark. So well played there. Right now, Carbona has started off blue buff, and it doesn't look like Dragon's actually going to come up here to pick that one up. So blue buff is going to be given away to Nasus there, which is an interesting one. Obviously, Zach not being mana dependent, he's not going to take it.
Yeah, and of course, 0 items on Kurt right now because he did use that red pot. You can see it glowing on him, as is Tesla Land. But we do see both junglers coming up towards there. Carbona and RNA. Carbona being kicked in towards the turret there, but it's going to be Kurt that's taken down very low. The Ignite goes down. One more hit from Tesla should be enough. The Ignite's ticking. It will take him down. The shield coming out from RNA and not quite quick enough. And it's going to be the kill for Tesla.
Lord's coming up from the river, though. He's got his ultimate available if he decides to go in. Decides not to. And, you know, that particular engagement, that was just Tesla 1v1 in Kerp. Without their ultimates, he was able to win that fight completely.
Well, fantastic work there. And that does mean it's going to be a 2-for-1 to Alternate with that advantage. But Tesla now picking up a big chunk towards that Sunfire Cape, as well as the boots there. That is going to make him a much stronger, tankier target in that top lane. Kurt, meanwhile, he goes back, gets him that Bilgewater Cutlass and the cloth armor.
So we'll see how, they're going to decide to level this up right now. That cloth armor for Zed is an interesting pickup. He's afraid of the damage that Renekton's putting down, and I want to see what it builds into if he's going to go for the likes of a Ninja Tabai. So it'll be one to watch. In terms of the bottom lane, you can see that Creatine is definitely going to go for that Spirit of the Elder Lizard build once again. And as we pointed out, as long as they can draw out these team fights, the kiting power is going to be very, very strong.
Yeah, it looks like the Dragon is going to go across to alternate. You can see they're starting off, but Dragon's about to launch himself in there. Yes, he will. There's the rest of the team. Chain of Corruption didn't quite land, though. You can see the Charm just missing out there. Carbono does come in, pulls the Wither down on towards Aranea, but it's going to be Mithy that gets caught out. Mithy does go down. He did manage to turn around and use his Wild Growth just in the meantime, but it's going to be also Carbono going down. And now Dragon's in trouble. Alternate turning this one heavily in their favor. It's going to be a 3-for-0 once they catch down Dragon and the Dragon itself.
So 4 kills in that little moment. Such good play coming out of them. Being able to counter every single one of their opponents, even though each of the abilities land. Alternate have turned the pressure on, and this is now a role reversal. This is the complete opposite to what we've seen from the previous game, and they are just winning out in every single engagement, making the right choices at the right time. And I may have spoke too soon. Alternate, they're not going down without a fight.
You could just say they've got double Dragon right there, but as it stands, Tessa is going to try and take down that top turret. And that will try and even the gold as little as they can, but still not going to equal things out. You can see it's a 2,000 gold advantage for Alternate, and they are picking up the kills on essentially the right people, although you could argue maybe the jungler isn't the right person.
So a jungler like Lee Sin, it can work out very well because he is a snowball jungler, and if you look at the item that he's picked up, he's gone for the Sightstone first. Glitterlance has caught out Creatine, but without no Chain of Corruption, it doesn't look like going to carry on chasing. And, with that Sightstone, it's going to allow him to put more wards down. And with the Lee Sin, who can, hop, skip, and jump to each of those wards, it's obviously going to give him all that additional mobility as well, which you cannot discount in these upcoming fights.
It's bottom lane. It's working very well for Creatine, considering how much focus they had in that first game around. And the pause comes out. It is Wizards that have called the pause. It's Mithy once again that there's actually it is gigantic right now. Almost 30 CS built up. You can see he's gone back to bite. Of course, that does mean Kerp will be getting some CS right now. He will catch back in there, but more importantly, the tower, the first tower of the game, did go down, and they are going to dive on towards him. Matrocco, he got it covered.
So we didn't even see the Dragon's Rage kick coming up from Aranea. They did force out the Chain of Corruption, but a good gank attempt. Nevertheless, Aranea tried to run forward and actually kick him backwards. Wasn't able to make it work. And talking about that top lane advantage that Tesla has, we're going to see a similar situation to the previous game where Kerp is not going to be able to really kill Tesla out because of that early Sunfire Cape, but Kerp's focus is always going to be on Matrocco's Varus and just trying to pop him in team fights.
And look at his warding. Look what he's just done. He's put himself a triangle down around that top jungle. He wants to absolutely bully Kerp out of this game. He's got himself a giant creep wave that he's going to chug down, and that is going to be happy times farming for him, and he's quite happy to just keep on pushing that one. Meanwhile, the blue buff, and that's going to be given across, of course, to Forellenlord Lord in just a moment. He's going to come over and pick that one up. Meanwhile, the blue buff for Wizards, which way would that be going? Because does Dragon need that? Not really. For the cooldowns, maybe. But I think Carbono is probably just going to keep on farming that one.
So Carbono will probably keep that up for as long as the laning phase will continue. Oh, there's the crescendo.
He didn't go straight into it. That's going to be a true shot. He does manage to get the Wild Growth to keep Matrocco alive, and he's going to be running away from this one. Mithy now will be the target. Can they get towards him? But immediately the Wither comes out from Carbono, and they force him away, and Matrocco, well, survives once again.
I cannot believe they managed to get away with that one, using the Wild Growth as well as the movement speed that Lulu's going to offer, chasing him away, getting him to safety. So great play from the Wizards to get him out of there. And talking about Matrocco, I imagine once we get to the mid to late game, it'll be his blue buff. Right now, though, Tesla, with those wards that he put down earlier, that triangle is going to give him full vision, allow him to maybe even bully out Aranea in this jungle.
Yeah, you can see he tried to try and pick up that red buff while Aranea was gone. Forellenlord also came up to try and help him out there, but Dragon looks like he's going to cover him off mid.
So at the moment, though, we'll see how well he can fend off that pressure. Aranea, he started off his red buff, will be able to secure that very quickly and safely, and obviously going to carry on with his jungle path. But with regards to Dragon in the mid lane, he's behind on CS to Forellenlord when he was winning in the previous matchup.
So Carbono will be picking up that blue buff in the mid lane. Meanwhile, Zach, he's on that rate. So in terms of farming between these two, Forellenlord, he is a little bit ahead of Dragon right now. He's putting pressure on that turret, and you can see the damage that he's already got down there.
The charm.
The charm does land on Carbono, and immediately Aranea was there.
Yeah, comes
to shield him off. He's going to see he's coming around. It's going to be Tesla going in. He tries to focus on towards Pharrell Lord, but immediately gets kicked away. Aranea is going to go down here, or is he? Is the Ignite finally finishes him off, but you can see Tesla taking low. Doesn't matter, it's going to be Pharrell Lord that picks that cut up. Actually, until the lights curve, there's going to be the blobs going down of Dragon, and that will be picked up. Who they're going to give it to? They're going to give it to Curb.
So 2-for-1 reaction at the end of the day, and the burst damage that comes out of both Zed and Ari was too much for that, for the team to handle. And that was something that we talked about in the build-up, that if the tanky team could get focused down, then Ultimate will be able to keep control of this game. So at the moment, they extend that gold lead even further, and they hold a 5-kill advantage over their opponents.
Could we see a third match? It is, of course, Wizards that are 1-0 up in this game. Alternate putting the pressure on them here as the red team working much better for them this time around once they finally got those picks and bans through. As it stands, you can see Pharrell Lord 1-0-4 now for Pharrell Lord. That's a much better start than previous game. It was 0-2, I believe, at one point. Meanwhile, 0-3-1 for Zach in mid, which is Dragon.
Much more important, but on a champion like Ari, he's going to need to maintain that lead and make sure he doesn't slip up and fall behind. Because Ari's going to, does have the ability to deal a lot of damage to a lot of targets, but specializes on, really singling one target out with the charm, with the likes of a DFG, and then blowing everything on them. That's what he's going to need to keep doing. Pink Ward is down for Ultimate. They're just going to clear out Dragon, which will be respawning in 20 seconds.
And of course, those 2 kills that were just given across to Curb does mean the fact that he is going to be stronger in that top lane. And now Tesla is not going to be as confident in pulling him out. He did put those 3 wards down in that jungle. Not one of them really came to any use because they've timed out and he didn't really get a great deal from it.
No, so he tried to steal the red buff. That didn't work out successfully. Tried to come up behind and set up a gank. That didn't work. And right now, Fabano's going to eat little shot there from Aranea. The leap comes up, the elastic slingshot, and Renekton is there. But this fight, luckily, Alternate are able to back away quickly enough.
And more importantly, the mobility that Alternate have. You saw it there, Aranea. Obviously, he can Iron Will to someone. He can defend across there. Ari, the Pharrell Lord, can just jump away from these fights. Zed obviously uses Living Shadow as well. Ezreal, he can Arcane Shift. Sona's going to be the really only solid target in there. We do see, actually, Wizards are going to keep on pushing on towards this turret while Alternate take the Dragon. There's the Dragon going down. That's going to stretch that gold lead. It's now 4,000 in advantage to Alternate.
And you have to give really good credit to Pharrell Lord there. He managed to actually fend off that push in the middle lane. He showed himself in lane, applied some damage, and pretty much drew their focus a little bit, which sort of made them doubt, is the rest of the team coming up? Are Alternate going to dive? And at the end, they managed to pick up the Dragon uncontested. So that is the second Dragon of the game, if I recall correctly, and that is owing to the gold lead. Look at Pharrell Lord's position, and I think Wizards are well aware of this. There is a ward there that they would have seen him walking over, and you can tell by just how defensive they're playing in the bottom half of the jungle.
Yeah, they saw him leaving that mid lane, pinged it the moment he was going away, does back off, covers him off. They did also pull 4 members down there, but it does mean that the bottom lane, we do have Aranea in there. It's going to be the jungler of Carbono. If he goes back, it's going to give you a 3-2 advantage for Alternate pushing on this bottom lane. And of course, don't forget the mobility that Pharrell Lord has. He can zip around that map if he so requires, but they're not going to go for it. And it's going to be Matroco poking back, and they are going to back and buy.
Yeah, so Aranea, he's doubting. Do they know I'm here? Is there vision, etc.? He managed to avoid the piercing arrow. It's not going to make too much of a difference at the end. Just going to step into the lane, clear out the wave with the rest of his team, and obviously force down the tower. So, well played by Alternate right now to try and get their first tower of the game after picking up the Dragons. Habana is just going to stick around, try to pick up as much CS as possible before he makes a safe and speedy exit.
So, we do see, again, Tesla off farming that top lane. This is a split push style we've seen many times in the LCS, across many games in every other league. It works well, and it works very strongly for Wizards in the last game. See if it can work for him again this time around. Pharrell Lord's going to pick up that blue buff, and that's something he's been able to keep hold of the entire time this time around. Remember in game 1, that mistake that Aranea made, or one of them made,
where
one last tick, ended up picking it up, and that really did make them pay, especially Tesla getting poked there, being caught by that ward, and Pharrell Lord tracking him through, forcing him through towards the Baron pit.
Tesla playing very confident right now. That's the second or third time that we've actually seen him running around the jungle, taking a bunch of wards and just putting it down and getting as much vision in and around that red buff as possible. You can see they've actually double stacked the ward near that red bush, which is not ideal, but I think one of them will time up shortly. And it's just, it tells you how confident Tesla is at, his Renekton and at playing against Ultimate. He's not afraid of them. He's not afraid to invade, to get the vision down and to effectively challenge them, say, right, come and fight me. Because if they do, if he pulls numbers towards him, the rest of his teammate can force objectives and try force down other towers.
Speaking of forcing objectives, they're going straight across towards that blue buff, and Ultimate going to steal this one away. It's not going to be as a crippling move as you would normally have if there was an AP mid player in there, but it will take that experience, that cooldowns away from Carbono.
So that's something that's going to play into his favor, especially now in this, sort of still quasi-laning phase with only 3 towers down. We still haven't seen very big engagements in and around the Dragon Pits. We haven't seen big, 4v4, 5v5s right now. But once that blue buff comes back up, I expect the focus to be on Metroko, giving it to the like of Varus, who's just going to spam out those piercing arrows all day long. Lord looking to find a straggler in the bottom lane. With that Void Staff completed, he'll hit particularly hard, and I imagine this Need to See Large Rod would probably become a DFG.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for him. Of course, he has been much more successful in this game this time around. So, question for you, as they have a little poke back and forward here. Who is going to be the stronger? We're at the 20-minute mark. Ooh, I tell a lie. They're going to go in towards Tesla. He's going to have to flash away from this one. Does manage to get the second slice and dice across and successfully avoids the damage, but it does mean that Mithy plus has to use his wild growth. Is it going to be enough? Will he be able to flash away in time? No, he won't. He's going to go down to Lord, and now the charm lands on towards Dragon, uses the ultimate, burns half his hit points down. Tesla now closing in on him, pops his ultimate. He's going to go slice and dice across on towards Lord. Is it going to be a mistake? You bet your life it is, because the crescendo from J-Reed takes him down, and now the death mark is on Dragon. That's going to pop. It's not going to do the damage he'd like.
So at the moment, while they're doing that, the bottom lane's being pushed. They put some free damage onto Carbono, and Metroko is trying to get the turret down, which he has just finished off. Trading 2 kills for a tower, not quite sure it's worth it at the end of the day, but they do give themselves a lot of gold, and Alternate are now pushing the top lane.
They're going to keep the pressure on towards that top lane and the middle lane as well. So where are they going to push towards? You can see for Unlord, he's starting to burn down both inner turrets. Kerm's putting a good amount of damage down there, but the minions were wiped out. They're not going to be able to get it. Yes, they are. The top inner turret, so he definitely was worth it. And now they're turning on towards Carbono. They land the charm. That's going to be Carbono going down. Has to use his ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. For Unlord picks up another kill.
So Alternate extend that kill lead to 8 kills in the advantage. 4 towers to 2. The Glitzerlance catches out Ezreal, but there's no one else to back them up. And without Let's Bounce available, I don't anticipate Dragon really throwing himself to the wolves, as it were. Right now, Aranez decided to split push himself, and he's moved down to that bottom lane.
Well, we're seeing really from both these games, once one team gets an advantage, they are crucifying the opposition, and it seems to be working very well for Alternate now. 10-2 up in kills and an 8,000 gold lead just 22 minutes into this game. 4-2 in turrets. They have all the advantages stacking up against them. How are Wizards going to react? They will put themselves in a fantastic position in the first game. How will they respond with their backs against the wall?
So what we see now, while they're under all this pressure from Alternate, is they're making individual mistakes. They're being caught out one by one. They're running into situations where they really shouldn't be. Like, for example, where Tesla tried to pick a fight with Lord in the jungle previously. He was expecting Dragon to leap onto him with that elastic slingshot, and it didn't happen. So he ended up throwing his life away. Then Carbono was caught under the tower. They cannot afford to get caught out like that and keep giving away more and more gold.
Oh, and speaking of people getting caught out, Tesla is well away. He doesn't have a turret. There's no way he's going to be able to escape this one. And it's going to be down to Unlord and Kerb collapsing on him. They've played together for so long. They're going to lay the damage down. The charm hasn't been thrown out just yet. There it is. There's the charm. They turn around. It's Kerb that picks up yet another kill. 3-1-2 now on Zed. Dragon is just spawning. Chain of Corruption lands on towards J-Reed. Can they follow it through? No!
Great
Dragon
flash.
jumps in and he flashes straight out from it.
So well played by J-Reed. Not only that, now the fight's on. There's the crescendo.
Crescendo went across, didn't really land in the right target, but they're going to keep on the pressure on towards Wizard. We do see Kerb getting on towards Dragon. Is he going to pursue this one? Yes, he is. The charm lands. The death mark goes down. It's going to be Dragon surely taken down. One more pop will do it. There's the passive going out. Tree Shot Barrage rattles across. Manages to catch on towards the front lord. Taken very low. Metroko trying to get on towards him. It's not going to happen. J-Reed picking up the kill this time around. Carbono, he's going to get taken low. He gets killed out. Kraton picks up the kill there. Fantastic performance, and Kraton can pursue this. Can he get the triple kill? One more shot will do it. There it is. And that is effectively the ace. It all started with the death of Tesla down the bottom lane, and Alternate are wiping the floor now with Wizards.
15-3, they extend that gold lead to 8,000 8,000 gold right now. Dragon is up, and it looks like Alternate are falling back to set that one up. What was Wizards doing in the middle lane? They landed the Chain of Corruption, and nothing happened. They didn't have any follow-up on that at all.
Well, it's 5-0-2 for Crayon right now, 3-0-9 for Pharrell Lord, and that is going to be the Dragon for Alternate. Well, they are really picking up, and that's going to be the turret in the mid lane, though. Tesla's going to try and take this one down. He should get it. That's a little glimmer of hope for the Wizards, but that's all it is right now. The 8,000 gold difference is a telling sign, and for North, they're looking like a completely different team from the first game. Completely
different. It appears as though whoever, was sitting on the red side, and he seems to have the power in this best of three, because what a performance, what a turnaround. And Alternate, after we were questioning their motives, questioning how they played in the previous game, they have silenced all questions, and they've just come out with such a strong performance. The only deaths right now being their top laner and their jungler. The rest of them, 0 deaths across the board.
So let's have a look across those items as well. We do see Tesla. He has been trying to dominate that split push, but as we've just seen Kurt, they've been giving him the kills. He's been taking them 3-2-5 now. The junglers, there was such a big difference before, and it's kind of still there again. But this time around, Aranea on Lee Sin has been successful in his ganks. He's 2-1-7. The mid lane, huge difference right here. Dragon, look at this. A 3,000 gold difference between that mid lane and the AD carries. It's a 2.2k difference. Big differences on both the most important carries of the game.
Exactly, and that mid lane, and that's effectively a death gap between them. And something you have to point out, Lord has hit every single clutch charm that he's needed to. In the previous engagements, we've seen those kills going back and forth from the bottom lane to the mid lane. Every single time he needed to hit a charm, he did. And that is the reason they're chaining all these kills together. I thought he was going to go for the likes of a DFG from the Neezy Large Rod. He decided to go straight for a death cap, because why not? He's doing so incredibly well. If he decides to go now for an Hourglass or a Deathfire Grasp, that's going to play into his favor. And we're looking 479 ability power right now.
It's definitely going to hurt. Just 26 minutes into this game, you can see those orbs are obliterating. And J-Reeb, of course, with that Oracle on, will spot out that ward just been placed straight in there by Mythic. Charm being thrown out, flung towards Carbono. It did catch, but it didn't walk him the right way. That's always one of the things with a charm. Sometimes it won't always work in your favor.
So it was also a max range charm as well. So, it's going to take more than just a couple of steps to put Carbono in insta-death range. Right now, though, Alternate, they're sieging up on this mid lane. You can see Kerp is running through the jungle towards this mid lane, and there's been no reply from Tesla yet. This is going to be a 5 versus 4 if Alternate decide to dive. They don't necessarily have the highest amount of armor across the board, so they may be a little bit of a risky dive, especially now that Tesla's joined the party. So there's the tower. The pressure is down. It does look like Zach's, jumping around, and this might be the fight.
And managed to get a good half the hit points. That's going to be the final blow from Crayon. And that is the middle inner turret going down, and advantage definitely in Alternate's favor. They try and dive in towards Matraco. They do catch him out there. It's Jamie that picks another kill up. This time around, you can see Aranea diving in, and the rest of the team follow through. Miffy gets away, flashes out of it with nothing left. It's going to be Carbono. There goes Miffy finally going down. Carbono with his ultimate running there, just tanking him around the turret there. Tesla also going to come in there. Everybody's got to pack away. They're tanking the turret for far too long. The damage still being poked out, but the inhibitor turret now goes down. It's a 2-for-0 in the exchange, but more importantly, they've got an inhibitor.
Lord threads the needle, lands the charm through everybody, and catches onto Matraco's Varus. That was the start. He dove in there with the ultimate, 100% confident in that skill shot, lands it, and then wins the fight, and it's not over. He wants to go toe-to-toe with Tesla, and with the amount of ability power and spell penetration that he has right now, it's going to work. So wisely, Tesla backs away, but Lord, he's yet to play. He wants to dance.
Wise experience really between these players to go down so heavily in a 45-minute match and just get absolutely demoralized, to come back and pull out a performance like this has been astounding for them. So 17-3 is the kill score. That equates to an 11,000 gold difference. It's 6-3 in towers. And more importantly, for Alternate, that middle inhibitor has gone down. Baron, of course, is available. They could choose that, and it does look like they're setting up for it.
So I'm going to channel my inner D-man from the previous game and say, at what point do you surrender if you're Wizards? This is the discussion that we were talking about. On the one hand, Wizards, they do have this very beefy, very tanky lineup that can get, to some point where they're not going to get insta-burst down, but they're so far behind in items and gold, it's going to take a very long time. Right now, though, there are some pings there onto J-Ree and Aranea. You see a 5-man Wizards trying to fend off this eventual Baron. Sidesteps the charm, but look at the damage from Lord. That's 2 spells, and that's hitting hard.
But look at the damage also coming out from Tesla. He managed to catch up for Lord. Does take a chunk of his hit points down as well. So it shows he's not without target, but we do see Kerp diving in, meanwhile, in that mid lane going towards it. And he's covering off for Lord, who was taken down low again there. The Wither came up from Carbono. So they're keeping the pressure on towards him. Aranea doesn't manage to land his kick there this time around. He doesn't fly in towards them. Almost baits you. If you land that, you're like, I've got to follow it. I've got to go in. I've got to go in.
Once you land the Lee Sin Sonic Wave, you just want to dive in and hit that resonating strike. But this time around, he does play relatively patiently and decides to back off. And I really like that Ruby Sightstone in Israel. Such a great pickup. Right now, we've just got this extended duel right now as alternate off, split pushing the bottom lane, as you can see, Forrenal clearing out the waves as quickly as possible. And the super minions in the mid, they're going to be keeping Wizards busy for quite a while. And alternate, they're just stealing away any and all jungle camps that they can. Yeah,
they're going to push down towards this bottom wave as well. They did shove in towards that midland. Actually, Kerp is going to make sure their super minions do put the pressure down. That's going to be the bottom turret being picked up for alternate. And now those super minions are going to have to be dealt with. That means they're going to rotate across towards the top lane where there's a creep wave coming down. And they're going to keep on the split push. It's Lord that's keeping that pressure on in the bottom lane. While the rest of alternate, they're up in this top. They've got no way to teleport back and forth between each other. So it's very much a 2 members, though, of Wizards are being drawn down there. They're going to try and dive for this one. They're trying to catch on towards it. But honestly, I'm not sure they've got the damage here. Kerp can turn around. Does put his death mark down. No, they said he goes in towards Tesla. They're kicking Carbono. Now they're going to turn in towards him. You can see, oh, the Chain of Corruption does land perfectly, though. And Aranea is in all sorts of trouble. He's going to get dropped down. Can Wizards turn this in towards their favor? They do manage to pick up one, but look at Lord. He can smell the juicy targets. They are all so low.
Wow.
They do manage to take down Carbono, but the rest of the team get away with nothing. And that's going to be the charm landing up towards Tessa. Kraton's following it through. Barrier comes down. That's going to be Matroko going down as well. Tessa's being chased in. Alternate could finish the game right here.
So one of the very important things that happened right at the beginning of that fight, Let's Bounce was used by Dragon in the bottom lane to try and fend off Lord as they moved up to the top. Right now, Lord have the numbers advantage. They are pushing down the Nexus turrets. They are going to even the series up at 1-1.
It's going to be all square, ladies and gentlemen. Alternate do take down